Today, we're making these creamy Tuscan cauliflower steaks. Super cozy, totally satisfying for the stomach and the eyes. The recipe looks way more difficult than it really is. We'll go step by step to show you how easy it is to put together. First, let's talk about what you're gonna need. A head of cauliflower, olive oil, fresh parsley, garlic, lemon, sun-dried tomatoes, raw cashews, water or vegetable stock, vegan parm or nutritional yeast, a dry vegan white wine, and our seasonings. We're gonna start by prepping our veggies. And first, let's knock out this cauliflower. With the cauliflower on your cutting board, flip it over and trim off the leaves. And while keeping it upside down, I like to cut it in half. I do this because the stem doesn't always line up in the middle of the cauliflower. And since we want to cut these into quarters, this will help everyone get an even bite. Next, we're going to chop up our parsley. This is just going to be our garnish, so a rough chop is okay here. Next, we're going to mince our garlic. We're using about 6 cloves, or 8, or 9. I could feel you pulling your phone a bit closer to your face, thinking 6, 8, 9. First of all, it's good for you. And second, I can't change who I am. All right, now for our lemon. This one's easy, just chop it in half, set it to the side. And then lastly, we're gonna dice up our sun-dried tomatoes, adding a little sweet and savory touch to the dish. Next up is our seasoning mixture. In a small bowl, we're adding Italian seasoning, garlic powder, smoked paprika, salt, and chili flakes. Mix those together and set aside. So, if you have anyone sensitive to spice, when I think about, for me, that would be my babies. One of my daughters and my wife. Want to ask me how I know? You know what? Actually don't. I don't want to relive that night. So the amount I recommended is probably your best bet. Now, bust out the blender, and I'm going to show you how to make cashew cream. So this is going to help add a good helping of protein to the dish. But say you don't want to use cashews or you're allergic. You can go with coconut milk, oat milk, or even like a plant-based yogurt. Just don't grab the vanilla flavored yogurt. I would never admit if I did that. Maybe I just did. Into the blender, we're adding raw cashews and water. Blend that together until it's nice and smooth. I'm using a high-speed blender, so this took me about 90 seconds. If you don't have a high-speed blender, I recommend soaking your cashews overnight or in boiling water 2 hours before trying to blend them. All right, the sidebar is over. Next, we're searing our cauliflower and getting some good color on there. And start by lightly oiling the skillet. You're gonna want a cast iron skillet or something stainless steel. So you can see, I got started here and I got distracted and forgot to prep my cauliflower with a little salt and pepper before getting it into the skillet. Not a big deal, because I was able to get a few, and the others I just took care of after. As you can see, I'm doing this one batch at a time, being sure not to overcrowd the skillet. Once you get them in the pan, you want to leave them cut side down for somewhere between 1 to 3 minutes, depending on how high your heat is. Then you're gonna flip them to the next cut side for an additional 1 to 3 minutes. Searing does not cook your cauliflower. This is simply us just getting some flavor on there prior to moving it to the oven step, which is going to fully, cook our cauliflower for us. With a little color, we're gonna move it right on over to a baking tray to go finish them off in the oven. We're gonna let that cook for about 15 to 20 minutes, but I recommend going for the lower time because you do want them to have a little bit of a snap. If you're using a cast iron skillet, you could literally just take the whole skillet and toss it into the oven. And if you're thinking to yourself, Andrew, you were just using a cast iron skillet. Why didn't you do it? You're right. I just forgot. While that's roasting, we're gonna bring our sauce together. I also could have probably reused the skillet I just took the cauliflower out of, but I don't know where my head was at. Maybe I was just in the mood to do a bunch of dishes. In your new skillet, add olive oil and or some butter. Add in your garlic and let that simmer for just about 30 seconds to a minute until it's fragrant. Add in your seasoning mixture and then your sun-dried tomatoes. We're gonna stir that around for about another 30 seconds to a minute, again, until it's fragrant. Once that's ready, we're going to add in our vegetable stock, and we're gonna start to scrape the bottom to deglaze it. This incorporates the fond into the recipe, so no flavor gets left behind. Then we're going to add our cashew cream that we made earlier and stir everything together. Sometimes I'll switch over to a whisk to blend the cream into the vegetable stock. Keep in mind, you could always add just a bit more vegetable stock. This will help thin it out and give you a bit more sauce. To finish things off, we're going to add in some fresh parsley, followed up by our plant parm, and allow that to melt into the sauce. And then we're going to add our lemon juice and dry white wine. These last 4 ingredients, doesn't really matter how they land into the pot. And the white wine is completely optional. You could either add a bit more lemon juice or just leave it out. It definitely makes a difference, but completely understand if you want a tasty recipe without it. With your cauliflower now finished, bring it back from the oven and add it right into the sauce. And if you want the meal to stretch a bit further, you could definitely add in some rice or even some edamame. Wait, hear me out. Or scoop this over some leftover mashed potatoes and call it, wait for it, Tuscan shepherd's pie. Huh? You know what I'm saying. This meal can feel like restaurant quality. It's stunning, it's tasty, it can leave guests, family, and yourself speechless. This full recipe can be found linked in the description, or you can head right on over to my website, makeitdairyfree.com. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, believe in good. Peace.